Netflix's Wednesday has taken the world by storm and has become an instant hit. The horror comedy series features great actors like Luis Guzman and Gwendolyn Christie and Jenna Ortega. But the biggest surprise entrant was Fred Armisen, because Netflix initially didn't reveal who will play Uncle Fester. Fans were surprised to see Armisen in that role, and surprised in a good way. In this video, we'll talk about how Fred Armisen prepared for that role. First up, Fred Armisen said he studied the work of other actors as well to prepare for this role. Fred Armisen recently gave an interview in which he explained in detail how he prepared for the role of Uncle Fester. He revealed that he looked at and studied the work of other actors who have played the character before. Jackie Coogan played Uncle Fester in the original TV show, and Christopher Lloyd played the role in 2 movies. So some great examples were already present for Fred Armisen to prepare for that role. He appreciated the work of these actors and confirmed that he studied the work of these actors not only to learn from them, but also to carry the same momentum and tradition in his performance as well. Everyone who played Uncle Fester before added a bit of their own touch to the character, and Armisen tried to mimic what they did in his performance as well. He tried his best to keep all those elements intact in his performance, the elements that make Uncle Fester who he is. Armisen said that there are some rules you have to follow while playing this character. He couldn't have done that without looking at the performances of others. He did add his own touch to the character, but also kept in mind what others did. Up next, no one could recognize Fred Armisen when he first appeared in the trailer. When Netflix first revealed who's playing the role of Uncle Fester after keeping it a secret for quite some time, no one actually recognized that it was Fred Armisen when he first appeared on the screens. All the makeup that he had to put on made it hard for people to recognize him, and on top of that, he had to go bald for this role as well to pull off the character, which made it nearly impossible for the audience to recognize him. Armisen further revealed that it took just over 20 minutes for the makeup artist to complete his whole look for Uncle Fester. The fact that his head was already shaved saved quite some time for the makeup team. Uncle Fester often wears a long black fur coat and has the ability to generate electricity. Coming up, Fred Armisen was super excited to play Uncle Fester. Armisen said that when he was first presented with the opportunity to play Uncle Fester, he was easily convinced when he found out that Tim Burton was the director of the show. And after finding out more about the project in detail, he was super excited to play the role. Armisen said he felt like he was the perfect guy to pull off this role because it's something that he's always wanted to do. Another thing that Armisen added to this character was the voice of Uncle Fester. He recreated his voice and recreated it to perfection. Also, it wasn't too hard for him to pull off something like this because it came to him naturally. All in all, Armisen really made the character his own and played it to perfection. Now moving on to Wednesday, every Addams Family movie and TV show ranked by Rotten Tomatoes. First up at number 7, The Addams Family 2. With 28% on Rotten Tomatoes, this movie's a sequel to the 2019 animated version of the film, which is directed by the directors of Sausage Party, Conrad Vernon and Craig Tiernan. The movie was released in 2021, and in this sequel, the Addams family goes out on a road trip across the United States. Gomez and Morticia have doubts about their relationship with Wednesday and think that she may not be their daughter. Just like the first animated movie, the sequel also didn't perform very well and wasn't appreciated by the audiences since it couldn't deliver on what the viewers were looking for. Up next at number 6, The Addams Family Reunion. With a 33% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, this movie was released in 1998 and featured an almost entirely different cast. In this version, Gomez wants everyone to be together, so he plans a family reunion, which doesn't go really well. There's some misunderstanding between the family, and they all end up at Dr. Philip Adams' place. A lot of people think changing the cast was a big mistake and the reason why the movie was a disaster. But it was just a weird movie overall, which obviously wasn't helped by the fact that the cast didn't gel together, plus the script was also very badly written. The directors had something else planned in their minds, but the product was completely the opposite of it. Coming in at number 5, The Addams Family 2019. This has a 45% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It was slightly better than the sequel, but overall it wasn't really good. While this film couldn't perform well because the critics thought the actors could have performed better in a live-action version rather than just being the voiceover artist. And they aren't entirely wrong. It would have been nice to see the likes of Oscar Isaac and Charlize Theron on our screens rather than just hearing their voice. One special thing about the movie was that the character of Charles Addams made a comeback after almost 20 years. This could have been a different movie if it was a live action instead of animated, just saying. Next up at number 4, The Addams Family 1991. It was the first live-action movie for the Addams Family, so naturally, all the fans were very excited about it. The movie has a 66% on Rotten Tomatoes and was directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, someone who isn't new to the business and needs no introduction. production. He's the same man who directed Men in Black, Pushing Daisies, and Big. In this movie, the Addams Family is reunited with Uncle Fester. This is the one in which Christopher Lloyd plays Uncle Fester and is probably one of the best portrayals of the character. Even though the movie received mixed reviews on its initial release in 1991, it's quite famous among the Addams Family fans now. It's more of a classic these days. The romance between Gomez and Morticia was so good to watch, and their love story is what made the movie a classic. Their romance is a perfect example of how married couples should live their lives. Take notes, people. Now for number 3, Wednesday. With a 71% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, the latest addition to a huge list of Addams Family movies and TV shows is Wednesday.
I saw it in a vision at the Weatherby.
Wait, you're basing all this off some vision you had after we kissed? I mean, is that something you can trust?
Wednesday, what are you doing?
Just some light torture. Don't worry, I won't leave a mark.
It's safe to say that it's better than most of their shows and movies, hence the rating and the ranking. This show focuses solely on Wednesday Addams, who tries to make peace with and control her newly found superpowers. Along with dealing with her superpowers, she has to go to school as well, because after all, she's just a teenager. Such a tough gig, isn't it? Jenna Ortega plays Wednesday perfectly, while Catherine Zeta-Jones and Luis Guzman are playing her mom and dad. This show was released on Netflix on November 23rd and was well appreciated by the audience. Placed at number 2, Addams Family Values. Released in 1993, Addams Family Values is a sequel to the 1991 movie. It has a 74% score on Rotten Tomatoes. A new member takes birth in the Addams family, whom they name Pubert. Also, Uncle Fester bids farewell to the family, as he intends to marry Debbie. Debbie is a black widow in disguise. Debbie somehow convinces the Addams family to send Wednesday and Pugsley to a summer camp, which turned out to be a disastrous decision, not for the family, but for the kids at the camp. This version was much better than the 1991 movie, and rightly so. It's the perfect movie to watch if you're looking for some family entertainment. Just sit down with your wife and kids, or whoever from your family, grab some popcorn, sit back, and enjoy this movie. You won't regret the time you spent. Even though it is quite old, it's still very much enjoyable. Also, Christina Ricci's performance is just out of this world. Don't judge this movie by its $48 million box office. It's much more than that. Finally, at number 1, The Addams Family, 1964 to 1966. With a whopping 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, this was the first ever live-action adaptation of the Addams Family cartoon. The show ran from 1964 to 1966 and has a total of 64 episodes. This turned out to be an iconic show and is still enjoyed by people to this day, and it's only gotten better with time. This sitcom involves some great humor, not only from the Addams Family, but from their neighbors as well. This has to be the best Addams Family movie or TV show. The show gives a lot of modern sitcoms a run for their money, which is what we believe makes it iconic. That's a wrap for this video. Which Addams Family movie or TV show is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, and we'll see you at the next one.